Okay, so let's start drawing how uh, eyes for the fashion face. It's a very simple process. All you have to do is first draw a parallelogram, something which any of us can do, a basic shape of a parallelogram, whatever the size of the eyes is supposed to be. And if you want to edit it and clean it up so that it starts looking a little less messier, let's do that. And then let's draw the basic shape of the eye. So understand these 2 points. Like somewhere one third of the sides of the parallelogram, mark out these points, and that's from where we start and end the basic shape of the eye. So let's draw the upper shape of the eye, and then from here you draw that, and then you bring it down for the lower shape of the eye, and then the eyelid. And when you draw the eyeballs, don't try to draw the entire eyeball inside the eyes because it will kind of look startled. So probably draw three-fourths of the eye or half of the eye. It kind of gives it a very droopy, fashionable feel to it. And then draw the iris. And then to understand where the eyebrows is, have a line that is at an angle, and then it's from there you draw the eyebrows. So that's the basic shape of the eye. Now from here, let's start getting into shading the eyes. So let's take out all the unnecessary lines that we have over here, and we'll probably take it all off. We'll erase it off. Now for anyone who wants to know what software I'm using Autodesk Sketchbook. It's a very, very convenient software for doing a lot of sketches on your Wacom tablet, or if you have, say, if you have an iPad, again, it's very, very good. It's a very simple software, not at all heavy, and it used to be paid before, but now Sketchbook is free. The free version you can download, and it's got almost all the features that you require. And so yeah, it's a very good software for doing most of your freehand illustrations, doodlings, or practice, or even product design sketches. I use it a lot for fashion sketches, for my basic drawing of poses or basic illustrations, and then I take it to Photoshop and do my rendering over there. Okay, so now let's start off with how the shading of the eyes needs to be done. So here I'm going to make another layer because the bottom layer is my basic template, and on top of the layer, or let's keep this layer to the top, and on the bottom layer I'm going to do my shading and then build up the eyes, the shading of the eyes, and from there. So next is let's start giving a little bit more shadow and depth to the eye, for which I use uh, use the airbrush tool over here, increase the size, and here what I do is I don't try to get into the details of drawing each eyelash by itself, because understand that when you do that, unless you really know how to do that, it starts getting very, very unnatural. And so the best way to do that is that just shade the essential areas that you want to depict as the area where the eyelashes are. And if you see, when you're most of the times when you're drawing, you're not drawing on a big scale, you're drawing on a smaller scale, and it's difficult to see all the details. If you look at a person's face, unless you're looking at it up close, you will not see the individual eyelashes. So don't try to draw this, which is probably a very basic mistake which a lot of people do. So I do the basic shading, and then from there we can start building up the rest of the shades for the eye. So I increase it a little bit and then start shading the rest of the eye. And so it's very simple. If you could always do this with a 4B or a 6B pencil, if you're doing it on paper, and then you could build up the shade from there. And if you want to give highlights, you just take an eraser and gently erase off areas where you want to kind of create the highlights, and that way you can start building the basic shape of the eye. Okay, now cleanse off some of the areas that you feel you've kind of overdrawn. Oops, that was white there, so let's come back to black. And all right. So now let's draw the eyelashes or the eyebrows. So simple, fast way is just you know doing it so, but probably you could do it in a little more conscious manner by trying to draw the individual hair. But obviously, it's not going to stay as it is. But see the way I'm changing the angle of the eyebrows hair, and I start drawing on top of it. And then towards the bottom, I draw it in the reverse manner so that this gives the edge of the hair as if it's starting off from there. And then if you are using pencil, just shade it with your thumb the inside of the eyebrow. Just kind of smudge it there, and that should kind of give you the the realism that is required. And now you could see that if you take off the outlines, you could start seeing the basic shape of the eye coming through. Okay, so now let's start building the rest of the eye. So I start shading the inner areas. Now, if I take this off, you can see that the rest of the eye in my bottom layer is coming through. Now, what I will do is I'm going to take off the outline of the eyebrows over there. So it's just going to be the way the eyelashes are done up, and then I'm going to come back and give a little bit more strands of hair coming out. You could always make the eyebrows thinner. It's up to you. And now let's try and shade the iris, the inside of the iris. Give it a shade there, gently. Give a shade to the bottom of it so that it starts looking three-dimensional. Remember, it's a sphere, so it needs to have a rounded appeal to it. And then let's give it some highlights. And then more strokes in between. And remember, there's always going to be a slight shadow below the eyelid because it creates a shadow on top of the eyes. So make sure you try and capture that. And you could build on from there, and you could keep building layers and layers of shade and shadow you want to build from there. Now here I'm going to give it a slight color for the shadows, eyeshadows, and gently giving it a shade for the makeup. Probably choose a color that is apt for the skin and then blend it. Now, this is something that you could use to build up for the rest of the eye, and I'm coloring the layer beneath so that it doesn't go over the eyebrows. And probably for the inside of the eye, you could give a gentle shade inside of the eye to kind of give it a three-dimensional appeal to it, and uh, so that it kind of looks rounded, and then probably shade off the area for the nose, and then you could give some highlights there. So yeah, so that's basically how you can actually draw the eye in a very simple manner.